right, Fish Unfiltered. We're back. First in-person podcast. Today we have Joey Wendle of the Miami Marlins. Joey, thank you so much for the time. And Isaac, I'll let you take it away.
I guess we can start with recency bias here. You guys just came back from Atlanta, started facing the Cardinals. And that first game in particular, I thought it was interesting that Miles Michaelis was really able to shut you guys down for a little bit. What made him so tough to face after the first inning?
I feel like we did a really good job in the first inning, kind of getting to him. Executing, getting those 2 runs across, and I think he did a good job just kind of keeping us off balance. Knew that coming in. He wasn't a guy with overpowering stuff. He was kind of a unique guy who was going to locate well, kind of keep you off balance. But I feel like we did a good job competing, and then we got him for a couple more there. At the end, I think too. I don't know if those runs were on him or not, but I know we started a little something while he was still in the game.
Yeah, obviously the moment of that game was when Andre Palante came in, the big pinch hit by Yuli Gurriel. Were you as surprised as we all were when that that move was made?
Not at all, actually.
Everything's just that's why Gurriel. That's why Tommy into the corner. 1 run is home. Here comes the second. Throw is not made, and Yuli Gurriel ties it up.
Skip made it clear. He's done this that I could think of one time all year. I know he knows Palante well. Obviously, he was just with the Cardinals, so he said, "Hey, Palante's a pretty severe reverse split guy, meaning that he gets lefties out at a much better clip than he gets righties out." So I had an idea that might be coming. Obviously, in that moment, you want the at bat,
right?
But passed the baton, and obviously it was the right move.
And the series before that, it was a really tough 3 games in the Peach State. I'm just curious, you're going to have to face this team again, maybe sometime in the postseason. What do you think you guys have to do to get the better of them?
Yeah, that team was unbelievably hot. I think even before we rolled in and a couple games after we rolled out, there wasn't a lot of pitchers who were able to stop them just from scoring tons and tons of runs. So obviously to combat that, try to outslug them, to some degree. And then, I really do. I trust our pitching staff in pretty much every situation against every team. That 3-game series didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to, but I would take our staff at any time, and I think if we want to beat that team, we're gonna have to play well. Like, there's no secret that's a really good team. I think if you were to look at their lineup and our lineup, top to bottom 1 through 9, we're going to have to play our very best game. Obviously, they're really, really talented. I think I saw something, during their current stretch, they have a team OPS of almost 1,000. It's that's stuff that you don't even hear about. It's just wild. 1 through 9, they're very solid. So in order to beat that team, we're going to have to play our best baseball.
So just going right, from start to finish in your career for now. Just Cleveland, you got drafted there.
Mm-hmm.
Just what was that like? And then obviously you get traded to Tampa. So how did you receive the news? Was it a little shocking to you?
Sure, yeah. So I got drafted. I was a senior in high school, or senior in college rather. So a little, older, kind of getting started. I didn't really know anything about professional baseball. I get there, go to short season. I have 2.5 years with the Indians organization. I didn't know any better, but looking back, I can now see that that was just a top-notch organization. They really do things the right way. They annually have one of the lower budgets and have one of the better teams. So I think that kind of speaks to that. So I got traded from them in the off season to I think it was
Oakland.
Yeah, winter of 14, going into 15. And then I got traded to Oakland after that. Spent 3 years within that organization. Thankful for my time there. I got to play in Nashville for 3 years, which is, a great place to play baseball, great place to live and just enjoy, the minor leagues. And I did. I really enjoyed my time there. I was thankful that I got my first opportunity in 2016 to play in the major leagues. And, I got a cup of coffee that year. Got to, kind of show what I could bring to the table, and I got to maybe 100 at bats, play almost every day in September. Went away that winter to play play winter ball actually in Mexico. So we were actually talking about Mexico, or not Mexico, but winter ball in general. And some guys like, I don't get how you do it after a full season. And I went back and I calculated. I think I had close to 800 plate appearances. I want to say I was like 760 plate appearances that year, including minor leagues, major leagues, and then into winter ball. So I do remember being pretty beat up after that season. There was kind of a weird downtime between the end of the major league season and the beginning of the winter ball season, where I didn't continue my lifting routine. I think had I gone back, I would have done that and just kind of kept it rolling. I tried to get a little recovery, and I think it kind of came back to bite me. So,
what was winter ball like?
It was a great experience. Yeah, it's up until then I had never experienced anything like that. Just just culturally very different, competition-wise very different as well. I mean, I think in my head I went down there and I was, I'm always competitive. Any team that I'm going to play on, I'm going to give everything that I got. But in my head I was going to go and kind of work on some things that I had struggled with, and I was kind of consistently a slow starter, and I was like, well, maybe if I can get bats late into November, it'll be a little fresher on my mind come February and March when we're in spring training. But it was clear, right, that winning was like the end all and be all there, and I like that. I appreciated that. My teammates all played hard, and the fans, coaches, front office. It's just the expectation was just that we would win. And, I think that was a good experience for me.
So you get to Oakland and you basically just have success right away. What was the biggest adjustment from the minor leagues to getting now to the big leagues, the highest level of baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time in the minor leagues. I think I probably still have more plate appearances in the minor leagues than I do in the major leagues. 3 full years in AAA, and I never, I felt like my time with Oakland and my time in AAA, like I always feel like I played fine, but I always felt like I could have played better. I never like knocked down the door to the major leagues, or this guy is playing so good we can't afford not to have him. Yet I felt like I played solid enough to earn the call-ups that I did, and I remember after the 2016 season I had my first opportunity to really like play every day, and at first the game is really fast, and then as I kind of got more at bats week 2, week 3, it kind of hit me. It might this is hard, this is challenging, but I can play at this level. I know that I can play at this level on a daily basis, and I'm thankful that Tampa Bay gave me that opportunity. 17 going into 18, I didn't know what was in store for me. I got designated for assignment, which for some guy in their career it could be the kiss of death, and it ended up being probably the best thing that happened to me. Got traded to Tampa. They gave me an opportunity right away. I had a really good spring training, made the team out of camp, and I got an opportunity to platoon and play against right-handed hitters. So I'm thankful that they saw something in me and gave me that opportunity. That was, I don't want to say the first time in my career, but they made it abundantly clear that they really liked my defense and what I could bring to the table on the defensive side of the ball. And I had always taken pride in that part of the game, but just because of the way that people had spoken to me, that I had felt that most of my value was with the bat. So if I wasn't hitting well, I felt like I wasn't going to get an opportunity to play. And when they told me that they value what I do on the defensive side of the ball, to not necessarily worry as much about the offensive side, it was an encouragement for me, because there was value there without the bat, and I actually think that in turn that helped my bat. I think that took a little bit of pressure off of me and what I was trying to do offensively, and I was able to have probably still the best year of my career in 2018 as a rookie, even though I was 28 years old and had some experience in the major leagues.
And after playing in the World Series in 2020, I believe it was, were you aware that Dusty Baker compared you to Brooks Robinson a little bit when he saw you playing third base?
I did. I mean, not because I heard the interview, because a lot of people pointed me to that. Obviously high praise. But yeah, I mean, clearly I'm not the same caliber of player, but to even be in the same sentence is pretty neat.
And from Dusty too. That's
That's
gonna be pretty cool. Obviously, you came to Miami from Tampa Bay, and two similar organizations. They're both small market type of teams. I'm just curious what similarities you see playing with these two clubs, and also differences that you may see for those two.
Yeah, well, like you said, they're two small market teams, and people ask me like how was it coming from Tampa to Miami? I had a lot of friends in Tampa. I was really close with the staff there. I felt like I had really good relationships there. So, there was definitely some emotions. I was sad to leave Tampa. It wasn't that I was coming here. It was a good thing there, and I was thankful for my time there. And to come to Miami, the first thing is you kind of start to see some of the similarities there between the organizations. Just the mentality, the mindset that they have. The emphasis on the little things, the emphasis on playing the game the right way, on doing the things the right way. And then you kind of get there and you see the kind of players, and it's almost like the same mold, the same type of players that are attractive to both organizations. I think that made my transition from Tampa to Miami a good one and an easy one. Now, last season, 2022, didn't turn out obviously the way that we wanted to as a club. It wasn't my best year personally, but I think there was a lot of good that came out of it. I think there were a lot of right steps in terms of the culture, in terms of expectations, in terms of letting young guys get opportunities to play, and kind of seeing what they could bring to the table. And I think this year we're starting to see the fruits of some of that labor.
You mentioned Tampa Bay, but is this, the last couple home games for Miami, averaging 20,000 a night attendance-wise, is this the biggest crowd as a home player that you played in front of? Because it came from Oakland.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Oakland. When I was there, it was just a month, but we didn't get many fans.
Right.
Tampa. I've had a couple of opportunities to play home playoff games there, so those are probably the biggest home crowds that I've played in front of. And I think they even did, a weekend where they were, tickets were $10 or something like that, where the teams would show up. But the past couple of days in Miami have been awesome. I mean, it's, the attendance, it might say 20,000, but it seems like more. Because you play in another stadium and it says 20,000, and it seems like you could almost count everybody there. Here it's like if there's 20,000, there's 20,000 strong. So it's been a lot of fun, and this place gets loud, and these fans care about baseball, and it's fun that we're winning, which should in turn, I would think, help our attendance, as we continue to play good baseball.
When you talked a little bit about this season, just the success you guys are having, what do you think changed from one year to another?
Yeah, well, I think the one thing that would just be silly to overlook is just the performances of certain and specific players. I mean, Jorge Soler and Luis Ariz, Brian De La Cruz, Jesus Sanchez. I mean, Garrett Cooper. Like the list goes on of guys who are having great years, or having better years than they had last year, really just credit to those guys, credit to the players. That's not to say that staff wasn't involved in that, or that the new staff hasn't played into that, but as a player, we see it as our responsibility to play to the best of our abilities, regardless of staff, regardless of the situation that we're placed in. And I think that a lot of guys probably underperformed last year and didn't feel like it was our best year, and so a lot of guys have definitely stepped up and performed better. And then I also just I think that what Skip and the staff has been able to do, and the expectations that they've been able to set, have really just kind of enhanced that, and really just allowed guys to feel comfortable and to play to the best of their ability. I mean, Skip comes in and he knows what he wants, he knows how he wants to do it. He's very clear, very concise, and we feel like the supporting staff around him, have been on the same page since day one. And just can't talk enough about how great they have been, and just I think really just that, like, the expectations that are set on us, and like, we expect X, Y, and Z, and this is how we're gonna get there. We're gonna help you. We're gonna give you the tools. Like, we're gonna prepare for games like we're ready. Like we're gonna win them. And I think a combination of things has led to that. And thankful that we're playing well, and we look forward to continuing.
Something I wanted to ask you about, when you were with Tampa in 2021, the second game of the season, you hit a go-ahead home run in the ninth inning against Anthony Bass.
Yeah.
I was just curious, when you came over in 2022, did you guys talk about it? Did you give him a hard time?
Well, you know what? I wasn't quick to point it out. That's not how you make friends in a new clubhouse. But yeah, that was one of the first things that they kind of gave me a hard time about. It's. Could have been anybody, could have been any team, but it was kind of funny that that was one of the first things that the guys talked about. I think somebody mentioned it, and I was like, I wasn't going to say anything, but now that you did, we can talk about it. So.
And then the last thing for me was just something the fans want to know is just no batting gloves. I know you had a little blister thing earlier, so you had one batting glove for a while.
Two at-bats.
Two at-bats with
really
one.
Tarnished my reputation.
Right. So just why no batting gloves?
Yeah, I mean, I've never worn them. I mean, I've just I just think, like, being a kid playing baseball, you just grab the bat, you just go up there.
Right.
Just never, like, lost that. I never grabbed batting gloves, and I was like, I like this more than not batting gloves. So also, it sounds silly, but I just don't like being responsible for a lot of things. Like, I feel like if I have my helmet, my cleats on, and my a bat, I can go up there and hit. And I'm forgetful just by nature, so I feel like I'd forget my batting gloves, this, that, and the other. And if I got a little tar on there and some rosin on the on-deck circle, I should be good to go. Don't need anything else.
You got the back pocket though. So.
That's true. Yeah. Well, and I did actually put the batting glove in the back pocket when I was playing with it for those 2 games, just because it's a classic look. But I guess guys don't do that as much anymore.
Right.
Does it make a difference when you have the gloves and you don't?
I mean, to me it does. Yeah. I mean, if it didn't make a difference, then I would just wear them just to protect my hands and all that stuff. My wife and my kids just talk about how rough my hands are and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like I don't really care to wear them or not. If I didn't care, then I'd just wear them. But I just like it better without them.
All right, so now we're just gonna wrap it up with a couple of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Who's the funniest teammate?
Brian De La Cruz.
Who's the hype man in that locker room, in the clubhouse?
Oh man, hype man. Archie Bradley, when he was with us, was the hype man for sure. Yeah.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Nice.
Ribeye. I mean, yeah.
Excellent choice.
What's your favorite and least favorite ballpark?
My favorite ballpark is Fenway.
Okay. You were just like...
My least favorite ballpark? A lot of people would probably say the O.Co Coliseum, but I think since I made my debut there, that has a special place in my heart. And this, there's a lot of really nice ballparks, and I would just say this one because I feel like every time I play there, it's freezing cold and empty. But I'll say Detroit.
Okay.
Not that it's it's a really nice, clean ballpark. I think it's just my experiences there. Maybe have led me to say that.
Who do you give the aux score to?
Me.
Who do you not give it to?
Myself. Jazz.
So, last one. What's your favorite baseball memory? It could be major leagues, minor leagues, little league.
Man, I have so many special memories in baseball. It's really hard to pinpoint one. It's almost like I could take one from each little chapter of life. I mean, just have so many good memories from when I was 10, 11, 12, playing Little League. I won the College World Series with some of my best friends in 2012. Getting drafted, first time going to the playoffs, being in the World Series. There's just so many. I couldn't put. I couldn't make just one really.
Anything on your end, or we good?
Well, thank you so much, Joey. I really
All right,
appreciate
thanks,
it, man.
Appreciate
Thank you so
it.
much for the time. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.